Hey, what's up guys, it's the Meta Goblin here, and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to present you my theory, or call it my idea, of how Death Knight is going to work in Warlords of Draenor. Now, obviously it's early days, it's just an early theory that I came up when I should have been trying to get to sleep, but you know, I'm a bad sleeper, so this is just, it's an early theory. It's not set in stone. I don't know if it works, but you know, I've been doing a bit of skirmishes, and my idea, my playstyle is proving quite effective. Okay, so the obvious change to the rotation is that Necrotic Strike does not exist in the game anymore. It's a completely sacked ability, which means we need to consume our death runes differently, because we obviously can't use it to consume Necrotic Strikes and get health absorption. I think Festering Strike is going to become a very prominent ability in the rotation, and the reason why is because of Necrotic Plague. Now, if Necrotic Plague is viable, that is, providing, then Festering Strike is going to be an extremely strong ability indeed. Now, let me explain Necrotic Plague. First of all, it's a dot. You put it on, lasts 30 seconds, 40 seconds. You cannot refresh it. Even if you use Plague Strike Outbreak, the duration will not refresh. It will go 30 to 1 and then it'll drop off. Nothing you can, well, there is something you can do about it, but nothing that we usually could have been able to do. And basically, when it gets to about halfway, it builds up stacks each time it does damage, and the more stacks it does, the more damage it does. So ideally, when you're at about 15 stacks on Necrotic Plague, you're going to be doing the most amount of damage. Now, there is a way to keep Necrotic Plague on your target without losing it, without the duration going. You can keep it on infinitely with Festering Strike, because Festering Strike increases the duration of Necrotic Plague, so you can keep it rolling at its 15 stacks continuously, doing its maximum damage for an infinite amount of time. And I think that is that little kind of control to DK is what's going to be the new meta. You understand what I mean? When I was thinking about this, I was also thinking the fact that Festering Strike also increases the duration of Chains of Ice, and I thought this is basically the maneuverability problem of DK being fixed. Now, the problem with DK is that they are not a very maneuverable class compared to other melee classes. For instance, Ret Paladin, they have so many speed increases, it's unreal. Same with Warrior, they have Charge, they have Heroic Leap, etc, etc. I think Rogue have an infinite speed buff. The reason why DK was fine not being incredibly maneuverable is because obviously a lot of our abilities are ranged, and we never really needed to be in melee range very often. We only need to be in melee range for Necrotic Strike. Now, and obviously we can't go for Death Savants or Chillblains because they're completely unviable. Well, we're not the strong talents, but we can go for them, but just because Asphyxiate is really strong, we can't really opt out of Asphyxiate. Now, back to Chains of Ice. When you use Chains of Ice, let's just give an example. When you use Chains of Ice like this, what tag am I on? There we go. The duration's 4 seconds right now. I'm going to use Festering Strike, and it's gone up to about 8 seconds. So the duration increases. The duration of Chains of Ice increases, so you can retain a 50. Is it 50%? I don't even know. It's 50%, isn't it? Yeah. It doesn't even say. I reckon it's about 50-60%. You can retain a 50 to 60% slow on the target infinitely. So it's basically also having Chillblains, as long as you stick to a Festering Strike rotation. Now, for the most part, in terms of damage, Festering Strike is your hardest hitting ability anyway, so you are getting a massive amount of damage out. And the reason why a lot of people probably thinking, why don't we just dump our Death Runes with Unholy Runes, because that's what the meta was in raiding for Unholy in Cataclysm, Mr. Pandaria. Now the problem is in PvP is, well, we cannot just sit there and spam 6 melee abilities, especially with our bad maneuverability, which is like severely worse now. You cannot just sit there and do 6 Scourge Strikes. It's just impossible. It just isn't. You're not going to have enough time in melee range to get onto ranged targets to do it. And the damage is, I've done my calculations, it is a little bit better, like a tiny bit better than using Festering Strike, but it's like minuscule. And the fact that you're going to be in melee range of your target more by using the Festering Strike rotation I've come up with, it means that you're going to be doing more damage anyway. So just at the top of the video off, I'm going to give a little rundown of the rotation I've been doing. The thing is, obviously Festering Strike, you have to rely on the fact that your runes need to regenerate. You need to be getting your runes to regenerate quick enough so that your Chains of Ice and your dots don't fall off. And for the most part it shouldn't be a problem with your dots, but Chains of Ice I'm struggling a tiny bit, and at occasional times I need to reapply it. Anyway, what I normally do is I open with a Chains of Ice, you know, to get onto a ranged target. I open, and then I immediately go to Plague Strike, and I go to a Festering Strike, and then top it off with a Blood Boil. At this point, you probably want to do Empire Rune Weapon, and at the moment, I consume your Unholy Runes with your Scourge Strikes and Plague Strikes and whatever, and what is it? I can't even remember the name. Soul Reaper. So most part, you're trying to keep this duration of Chains of Ice going as long as you can. Obviously, Impet should be attacking a target, popping your cooldowns, popping Power Rune Weapon to get the massive damage from Festering Strike out, and your Scourge Strikes. What you're just trying to do is you maintain. Imagine I have Necrotic Plague right now. You're trying to maintain the maximum dot damage from Necrotic Plague, and you're trying to maintain Chains of Ice. There you go. I've got like Chains of Ice to about 20 seconds. It's even better than Chillblains. And that's what I've been testing this, and oh my god, enemy players just really, they feel really pinned down. They feel like there's nothing they can do to escape DK's damage and their slows. So to overall conclude, a lot of people have been worried about, you know, the removal of Necrotic Strike. I am not worried. The fact, let me explain why Necrotic Strike was actually removed. I fully understand why it's removed. Basically, obviously Frost is a lot better in raiding at the moment. It does a lot more damage. Obviously Blizzard wanted to buff Unholy in raiding and increase the damage. And the problem is, in PvP, if you do a lot of damage and you also have Necrotic Strike, it is just too much. It's too overpowered. Now with the removal of Necrotic Strike, it means that I see quite imminently we are going to get a lot of damage buffs, and we already have experienced. I'm feeling the damage is a lot higher. Also, the fact that Gargoyle's duration has been increased. I'm pretty sure Dark Transformation duration has been increased. All the things like that, we're definitely getting big damage increases. I see DK looking quite similar to perhaps an Affliction Warlock, just little bit less dotty. More like a cross between an Affliction Warlock and a Warrior, but the damage is just going to be more. So it's basically it is literally just the same as DK always has been. But dot damage is going to be a bit more. Going to be a bit more intelligence required to control the DK damage. The dot damage of DKs, which I quite enjoy. I quite like that kind of playstyle. I kind of like sophisticated and complicated playstyle. And overall, I am not worried. I don't think anybody should be worried about DK in Warlords of Draenor. I think they're going to be incredibly strong. That's it for me, guys. Ciao.
My friend, I can't seem to stand. Nothing changes inside of me. I'm tiredly pushing the